Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. It is a rather cool Friday, and you might be wondering, like, hey, don't you usually like record on a Monday and or earlier in the week and then put it up on a Friday? Why, yes, normally I do. But what happened is during post production, somehow my Audacity lost the sound file. Probably because I did like a virus scan and it rebooted and it didn't save properly. So I am re-recording this show for you. And I'm going to add a little personal note into the comments today. It's strange when you're going out on a date, meeting someone for the first time, and then literally it monsoons on top of you out of nowhere, and you're just stuck like soaked clothes trying to enjoy a nice dinner. Was my Thursday. So anyway, take it as you will. All right, what's today's topic? And today's topic is mainly based on what I recorded before, but was magically lost, eaten by my computer, which is knowing how much to diversify and knowing how much to simplify, and too much of either is a problem. And this just mainly comes from some of the emails and comments that I've gotten since last episode. And this isn't calling anybody out or me saying like blah blah blah, your team building sucks and is dumb. It's not that, and I won't be naming names or listing teams or anything like that. But what I have noticed since I focused on Spiral and the cops and the fire department decides to run through here, is people are saying, wow, I've got a high point game. I'm going to use Shatterstar. I'm going to use Spiral. I'm going to use Ghost Rider. I'm going to cram 15 pounds of meta into a 10-pound bag. And then they wonder, like, well, why didn't I win? The other guys cheese too, and I just can't beat them. What's going on? Well, it's sort of simple. It's the fact that people try to put way too much stuff in, and try to think that just because X is good and Y is good and Z is good, that all X, Y, and Z together is going to be, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's not happening. Okay, so let's do some breakdowns and sort of get into why some things are good, and why having some diversity is good, and why having some simplicity is good, but too much of either is bad. Okay. All right. So first, we're going to look at the diversity problem. Then we're going to look at the oversimplification, and then we're going to look at a level of synthesis. Okay. So that's where we're going today. So everybody knows that's our roadmap. That's what we call in public speaking, road mapping. All right. Why is the excessive amount of diversification bad? Usually because people will say, man, my War Machine is broke strong. My Galactus is broke strong. So if I put Galactus and War Machine on the team, it should be unstoppable. And that's not necessarily true. Okay, you might say Spiral's broke strong and Ghost Rider with Heroes for Hire and Utility Belt is broke strong. If I put them on the team together, that's super duper cheesy broke strong. And it's like, well, no, not necessarily. Okay, and I sort of covered last week why Spiral and Ghost Rider together is not necessarily top tier meta. It's a lot of people thinking that simple logic. That, oh, blah, 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 strong, blah, 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 combined, our powers combined, we form Captain Planet. And it's like, no, that's not it. And if you're an older generation, our powers combined, we form Voltron. That's what's up. Anyway, and here's why. Let's take and this usually does come up in higher point games, and so that's what we're really going to focus on more so than the 300-point meta sort of situations where that problem doesn't come up as much of having too much diversification. All right, so let's go back to a magical example that I had previously, in which we're going to look at one of my failments of team building. As soon as I can find my heroclix notebook in the midst of the 500 other documents that I keep on my desktop. Yes, I am one of those people. Like if anyone ever saw my desktop, they would wonder like, what's going on with you, Dark Logos? You got way too much stuff going on. Okay, here's a 1,000-point team. It's an older team. It's on page 7 of 59, if that gives you any clue of how deep my heroclix notebook is. And this probably came out, was right after GSX. So please keep in mind, this is a world before a bunch of relics. This is a world before team bases and resource dials, okay? And this was, I don't know, I think I just started the show. Either it was starting area. Yeah, this was when I was doing starting area. Not starting over, but starting area. So this is me sort of like, yeah, I'm a good player and I win a lot and I'm going against tough people and let me build a super strong team. Okay, and we're going to notice through my own little commentary here why this appears to be a good team and why it's not a good team. Because in the end, remember what I always tell people, you know, hey, write in your heroclix notebook how your team did and what your thoughts were. And my thought was too many figures, not enough hitters. And we'll see why here. 1,000-point team, Marvel only. Krakoa map is required to be played, and the Krakoa battlefield condition will be played as well. Okay, so sort of keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of map circumstantial damage just going on. Okay, so here's my team: Juggernaut from GSX, GSX Magneto, Web of Spider-Man, Nightcrawler, GSX Gideon, Secret Invasion Iron Fist, Elixir ×2, Mole Man, not Galactic Guardians Mole Man. This is the Mole Man that puts up hindering terrain, okay? Domino from GSX, Destiny, Rookie Destiny, J. Jonah Jameson from Web of Spider-Man, Mandroid Armor because he is baller, Hellfire Club Guard, and Cypher, okay? And you're going to notice what's going on here. That it's like, wow, you know, Dark Logos, that sounds like a bunch of awesome figures put together. Why was this team sort of punkish? Okay, well, let's look at it up close. And I'm going to count my meta pieces for you to sort of emphasize my point. Juggernaut, Magneto, Nightcrawler, Secret Invasion, Iron Fist, Domino, J. Jonah Jameson, Mandroid Armor, Cypher. That's 8. That's 8 meta pieces right there. Now, some people can argue for Secret Invasion Iron Fist, but he's sort of up in the air for me. Okay, so I have 8 meta pieces on my team, and compared to most other figures that have a bunch of meta pieces, all right, you would does your brain say that makes the team an auto win? All right. So as we break it down here, who is my main attacker? Juggernaut. What does Nightcrawler do? Same thing Nightcrawler always does, Pinky. Try to take other figures from the other side of the map. I have Gideon there to copy standard powers. Secret Invasion Iron Fist is my muscle. So if I really look at it, I have, you know, Gideon sort of hanging around either Magneto or Iron Fist for some offensive capability. All right. Mole Man is just there to make Magneto stronger. Domino has some nice elements that work out for her. Destiny is freaking Destiny. I mean, that's obvious. She's just there for prob. J. Jonah Jameson is cheap perplex. And I don't know why I didn't just go con artist. I don't know why. That doesn't make sense. Whatever. Then Hellfire Club Guard. Oh, I know why, because I was afraid that Krakoa would just kill them really easily. Mandroid armor is there for TK. Hellfire Club Guard helps protect Magneto just a tad, and the dual elixirs will allow me to regenerate my team with the quickness. Very little fighting going on for most of my team. Very little fighting. And then you also have to look at the fact that Magneto is also going to be doing dual TK duty for pretty much the first third of the game. So what does that mean? What does that really mean? Okay, that means the number of my attackers are Juggernaut, Nightcrawler, Gideon, Secret Invasion Iron Fist, and Domino if I'm lucky. That's not a lot of firepower. Okay. And I would also say Juggernaut is one of those characters that you need to protect him. And you protect him by killing the people that can do 3 damage to him. And you got to be on top of that, because if not, you are going to have the biggest amount of problems with Juggernaut. And he needs it. He needs to not take that 3 damage to pop off his helmet. Okay, so that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't really realize with the Juggernaut, is that he's great, but you also have to protect him. Anyway, so as I digress and look at my Kurth here, which is sort of funny, you can think like, man, if I had to play on that map, I would have all these healers and I would be doing this. And during that era, I can see this flexibility, and you're able to adapt to all these different situations. And the truth of the matter is, yes, I could adapt to various amounts of situations. But you're also looking at is my opponent has 1,000 points as well, in which they're probably investing more than 500 points into offense. Just pure and simple. Now, I don't know the record I did on this team. I don't think I won the tournament with this team. Because if I did, I probably wouldn't have left a purely negative comment to my future self. But this understanding that, wow, meta pieces don't automatically make good synergy with other high-level meta pieces. It just doesn't work. Okay. Another sort of example. Let me look at another team. Actually, you know what? I just scrolled down, and this is going to be a lot more old school than I normally deal with. Okay, it was 800 points. I call it 800 points, no stuff. Golden Age Marvel. No stuff means like no feats, battlefield conditions, relics, all that other stuff. So my team was Rookie Kang from Supernova, Rookie Silver Surfer from Supernova, and if you know those pieces, they are awesome. And this is Golden Age Golden Age Marvel only. One of your figures will be with the opponent after turn 5. So it sort of explains some things. 100-point Storm from Mutants and Monsters, Annihilus from Secret Invasion, Echo is a 38-point. I don't know if that's Rookie Echo or not. My support, Cypher. You can sort of tell where my brain was at the time. Vet Psylocke, 45 points, because I know I just bought her, and she was also on the top of my brain. I think it's one from Explosion or somewhere way back. The Leader This is again before the Hulk set, so this is the leader from Avengers. I think so, maybe. Um, Rookie Destiny, because she's always awesome. Mandroid Armor, because it's always awesome. Experienced Lockjaw and Elixir. And my note to my future self was the team did well, won tourney. Leader pressure was key. Elixir did a ton of healing. Cypher is an early target with smart players. Annihilus did well. Echo is still a strong figure. Formation was essential. Silver Surfer as damage spun did work because he is not used that much anymore. Kane constant pushing would have worked well with Elixir if I moved Elixir up and didn't depend on getting enhancement off. Biggest problem was Nightcrawler, but I took him in my game. Thing is, Nightcrawler teams are depending on him for mobility. That's a big mistake. Which, if you went back and listened to some of my old podcasts, I pretty much said Nightcrawler was there to solve for spatial difference. And once you resolve spatial difference, then Nightcrawler isn't as much of an issue. Anyway, if you look at this team, if we're looking at the guidelines, in a couple of turns, I'm going to lose a guy. And I'm betting most people probably took Annihilus. Not too many people know about that rookie Silver Surfer. Like, he's still pretty good for his points. Like, I think he's almost broke strong for his points and how deep his dial is. Like that, oh gosh, it's just awesome. Now, if you look at it again, let's look at the amount of support I have. How much am I investing in support? A good amount, still. Not as much as the 1,000-point game, but still a good amount of support. But I'm really putting more effort into having offense. Let's look at the amount of meta pieces on my team. Okay. For the time, just for that event, because it was Marvel only, I'm going to count pieces that I, just because they're meta for the scenario. Rookie Kang, Rookie Silver Surfer, Annihilus, Echo, Cypher, Psylocke, Destiny, Mandroid Armor, Lockjaw. So I'm up to 9. All right. But the big thing that you're noticing is, yeah, because someone can steal my figures, I have a lot more attackers at a lot fewer points, that if they're stolen, I'm not freaking out too much. Okay. I'm also sort of using Cypher as bait, according to my note to my future self. And a lot of people sort of gun for him. Okay. So overall, you can see like, hey, leader. The leader is support. Why is that? Because he has like Outwit and Prob, I thought. And also he's like Psychic Blast. And when you add enhancement with a lot of people, it becomes ridiculous. And that's why Psylocke was there. And also her range values are dumb strong for what she can do. I think she had like an 8 range or something. Like that was dumb strong. You shouldn't be able to do that, Psylocke. But anyway, so I digress. But the main element that you can see is that there's a bunch of figures working together that have a common goal, is to, if you die, oh well, I don't care. The team keeps marching on. Oh, Cypher died. The team keeps marching on. Destiny died. Still have Prob. Oh, Elixir died. All right, I don't heal, but them fools is dead. You know, you have multiple levels of interaction. And if you look at my offense is very brutally honest range. And that just tells you the meta at the time, really. It's mostly range. And WizKids has sort of reined that in, but I have Kang, Silver Surfer, Storm, Annihilus, the leader, as my range attackers, technically. Okay. And you can sort of count Psylocke, but not really. I have enhancement, which increases my range damage. I have perplex. Silver Surfer is just awesome. I know I'm gushing over him way too much. Kang is a constant damage output. If you look at that rookie Kang from Supernova, like, he is excellent. Really excellent. And I have Echo and Lockjaw as like my interceptors. And that's it. Their main goal is just to tie people up and to slow them down. But Echo can kill people, so yeah. Now, so when we pull everything back and we respin it, and we can start saying, all right, what am I not doing? I'm not doing hypersonic speed. I'm not doing, shenanigans. I'm not trying to have 15 bazillion perplexes on my team. I'm not trying to dominate my opponent with everyone having prob. I'm keeping it very simple. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to get enhancement. And if you hurt me, I'm going to heal. I'm going to TK out and shoot you. Enhancement, heal. Very simple offense. Okay? And so that's why the team won the tournament. All right, so a lot of people will look at these teams and you'll say, well, Dark Logos, those teams are over 2 years old. What's up with that? I mean, come on, like, give us something else, like, to show, you make crappy teams still. Okay. I think, no, I can't use that one. Okay, here's one. Here's a team, and this team has mixed comments. It's a 800-point Golden Age tournament, no feats or battlefield conditions. I play Lex Luthor from DC 10th at full points at 160. Thor from Marvel 10th at 120. Scorpio at 78 points from, I think he's Captain America. Number 203, Dark Knight Rises Catwoman, the item swap. Chip, 82 points from Green Lantern, Collector's Edition. Psylocke at 45 points. That's Psylocke. I just love her. She was on a bunch of my teams for a while. Enchantress at 50 points. Rookie Destiny. Donald Blake. Harvey Dent at 60 points. Lila at 15. AIM Renegade times 2. And Scorpio Key. Yep, so that was the team. Okay, so let's start breaking this down. Okay, my comments to myself: ownage, no major competition to the team, needs more hitters, but overall, Chip doing 6 damage is wrong on so many levels. So pretty much it's sort of obvious, and I think I remember this team, and the way it worked was Scorpio gets like super pumped up when he gets his key, and Dark Knight Rises Catwoman has the ability to swap like any object on the map with another object. So what would happen is I would swap the light in my starting area with the Scorpio key. Not Scorpio key, the Zodiac key. And once I did that, I just like plop Scorpio on top of it, and like he picks it up like automatically. So now Scorpio has like Outwit, like super stats and Psy Blast or whatever, and it became stupid dumb. Catwoman still has Perplex and the Batman TA, so it gave like Lex Luthor Batman TA, which when you think about it, it's sort of bad because he could just phase and move wherever he wants. I had Psylocke for enhancement, AIM Renegade for enhancement, yeah, and Lila for enhancement. So I have 4 enhancements. So it's obvious that I am playing a range game, and I'm using Chip to carry Lila and the AIM Renegades and Harvey Dent. Oh yeah, Harvey Dent is also there, so that Thor never takes pushing damage. Thor, Scorpio, and Chip never have to take pushing damage, and then Chip has Defend on click 2. Enchantress, looking back, that's probably a mistake. Like I shouldn't have played Enchantress. But overall, she's still good at 50 points. She didn't really fit with the whole complete offense because my mobility really is chip. It's not like TK out there shoot. It's like, oh, we move up gradually. Oh, you're within shooting range. Chip, move all the artillery pieces. All right, are all the artillery pieces in place? Okay, we got the ammo charged. All right, running shot, kill people now. So yeah, Thor with 3 enhancements and Lex with 3 enhancements. Just think about that, of how broke strong that can be. And Lex does Psychic Blast. And, the Scorpio key was so that Thor could get Psychic Blast. That was why. That was why he was there. I forgot about that. Okay, Donald Blake is there for the obvious healing. I have multiple props from Enchantress Destiny and Harvey Dent. And Barrier, and I think in one of the games I did use Barrier. Just to sort of piss off my opponent. Because they picked map, but they picked a map with a bunch of walls. So I was just like, I will alternate in Barrier. And by the time you get close, I will shoot you. Also take into account that I have Hydra on AIM Renegades, and also able to, I think Harvey Dent has PD. So I have other stat modifications there to lower defense. Overall, you can see the team is very simple. How many meta pieces are on the team? For the time, let's look. Lex Luthor, Thor, Chip, Donald Blake. I always want to say Harvey Dent, but not really. Lila, AIM, Renegades. I'll count them as one. So 7 characters. It's not bad. But again, I have other things on there that are not necessarily like super meta, like Scorpio. And Dark Knight Rises Catwoman. So those 2, they work together in and of themselves, and they provide certain benefits which I'm able to capitalize on this team. So you're listening to me and you're like, okay, I'm starting to see it. There's some elements here that if I can get it to sort of wrangle into one, I can get multiple meta elements together. Correct. So let's look at why oversimplification is a problem. And this mainly happens with people, well, actually with 2 categories of people. Older players that still hold to certain paradigms, and newer players coming in. With the older players, it's sort of like, are you stuck back in, the meta from Secret Invasion and Arkham, which sort of sucks, because I know I've seen players that were stuck in that mindset of that Secret Invasion, Arkham City meta, and it hurt them, where it was all about, hey, look, I have an attacker, and then I have a TKer, and then I have a perplexer, and that's my offense. And pretty much it's a tentpole team. It's a tentpole with pit crew. Okay. And you'll sort of notice with my teams is I use pit crew, but it's not a tentpole team. And there's a reason for that. It's that your damage output is multiplied exponentially if you do not use a tent pole. But there's a lot of tent pole play. Okay? And where it becomes frustrating, especially like with tent pole play or turtling play, is you cannot handle multiple threats. Okay? And that's just pure and simple. You cannot handle multiple threats. Your threats, you're like, I kill everything with force, or I stall everything out. You have one tool to solve all problems. And what will happen is, if you're lucky and you go through a tournament, you might go 2-1, and if you're really lucky, you might go 3-0. Okay? But if you encounter that thing that just completely hoses you over, you're done. You are done. And that's the problem with oversimplification. Now, if you are a newer player, don't feel bad about simplification. You are trying to get your boundaries and your head straight in this game. Do what you need to do, man. You're learning who you are as a heroclix player, and that's fine. But for everybody else that's sort of coming along, you got to start really mixing it up, because if even if you could say, I'm in the most casual of casual venues, we play comic accurate teams all the time, and you can be in that, and I would still say, hey, you guy playing in casual comic accurate venue, there's still you still have a tactic to your team. You still have characters that make lineups instead of other characters. You still have formations that you have to think about. You still are running a range game or a melee game or a mid-range game or a mix-up game. Just because you're cloaking your tactics under the candy-coated shell of, look, I'm playing theme, does not eliminate the fact that there is a tactical element to your team. Okay? And that's the one thing I sort of hate, when people won't admit. It's like, I'm a casual player. I'm like, so you just move guys out at random and throw dice? Nope. Okay, so you have tactics. You have plans. It's just you added another level of constraint on top of it. Okay, you can use this game as a miniatures game or a superhero simulation game or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's still a game. You still have a plan. You still have tactics. All right, so I'm getting off my mile-high soapbox now, and sort of coming back. I had a team that was an example of this. I probably have to go to like a real old team. Yeah, I will say this. My biggest problem as a player since Sinister, I sort of said I never depended on like one major attacker. I think that is one of my biggest elements. Okay, we're going into the way back machine in my heroclix notebook. So be prepared, people. We're going to... I don't even know when I played this team. This has to be right before... Right during Hammer of Thor, before Hammer of Thor. Okay, so I'm playing a 300-point scientist team. My team is Tomo Ray, with Not So Special, Chief, with Brilliant Tactician. No, this is after Web of Spider-Man. Never mind. 3 researchers, 5 Leanne Harper Pogs, and Fantastic Four Unique Mad Thinker. I have like plus ridiculous to map. I always could pick map. I have 2 attackers in a 300-point game. Yeah, I have 2 attackers. Because anyone who's played Researchers knows how unfun they are and how unfair they are. Researchers should never exist in the game. That's for darn sure. It's because you just need 3 of them, and that's 45 points, and you have enhancement for all your scientists. And if you're building a scientist team, oh gosh, just imagine if Thule Society Priest gave like Perplex or a +1 stat to all mystical characters. That's pretty much what a researcher is, But anyway, stepping back. The comment to myself is completely unfair to my opponents. Dominated with no problems. Map control, killed, stealth options. TK first strike needs to be dealt with. This team is very straightforward. It's a one-man tentpole team with a pit crew, except it's just disguised really well. And you might say, like, it doesn't seem like a one-man pit crew team. Actually, it is. because Tomo Ray has like 12 range. And because I have 1, 2, 5, 6 plus 6 to map, which in all honesty shouldn't be it shouldn't be possible in 300. Now we are like, oh yeah, plus 6 to map, that's not too bad. You gotta understand, back then plus 6 to map was ridiculous. Okay, so pretty much I was guaranteed to pick map. And with 5 Leanne Harpers, I have a lot of interceptors and tie-up pieces that just run interference for my team. And with plus 6 to map, like, I think I noted to myself, like, oh, they have stealth, doesn't matter. I pick the skyscraper map. There is no place for you to hide, and I have 12 range. There's no walls. There's no block. There's like very, very, very limited blocking. I'm going to shoot you. Now, a person might say, all right, again, Dark Logos, it doesn't make sense. How is this a tentpole team? I only have one attacker, and that's Tomo Ray. If you go and look up Mad Thinker, his stats are okay. Okay. While Chief, you could say like, oh, well, Chief can just brilliant tactician all these guys to ridiculous godhood. Yes, but still, you gotta understand, the main one doing damage is Tomo Ray. Tomo Ray's carrying everybody. Tomo Ray is the main one shooting for 6 damage. Tomo Ray is the ones lining up the shot. Tomo Ray is the one that everything is based around. Don't let the Mad Thinker fool you and it's like, oh, well, he has okay attack and stats. He should be able to do something. No, he does absolutely nothing than outwit or do whatever the heck he was there for. I don't even remember now. And at 53 points, he can't be doing too much. Actually, you know what? This is where I get interesting, and I go and look stuff up. That's what I'm doing, people. Going to particular places to look for figures. Okay, type in Mad Thinker. All right, I thought so. There's only one man. Yeah, okay, he has prob. And he has 1 damage and 8 range and a 9 attack. He's not doing jack. He has mind control. he's not doing jack. So yeah, I have a tempo team. So even if I did perplex a Mad Thinker, at best he would be like a 10 attack with 3 damage. That's okay. With an 8 range, maybe. But if I did push him past prob, he would have a perplex, and then he could be a little bit more scary. But yeah, Mad Thinker really not an attacker. And so the big thing that you might come to the conclusion is, well, Dark Logos, why didn't someone just run you down and base Tomo Ray? And I think they did. I think someone did base Tomo Ray, but I broke away. And I think someone hit Tomo Ray once out of all those games. Once. Tomare. I said Tomo Ray. Anyway. All those games, I think someone hit him once. Yeah. So it made things a little bit scary once he got hit, but if no one ever hit him, then yeah, I have no problem. Now, if I was to run that team in the current current meta, I would get owned so bad. Team bases would stomp the fire out of that. Okay, but even though, just something simple as if someone had TK, hypersonic speed, and good attack values and super strength, I'm pretty much done. I mean, I could try to get in there and like outwit, but if they're able to get to me from, one end of the map to the other, guess what? I'm dead. So, when it comes down to specialization, you can see like, oh wow, Dark Logos, you really hid the fact that your team is a tentpole team. Yes, but it doesn't really take away from the fact that it is a tentpole team. You have to look at stuff going on with your opponents the same way. Is you can't ignore the fact that, oh, this team is this, or this team does that. This team is very simplified, this type of team. Okay, so moving on, escaping the rambling zone, and moving on to sort of wrapping things up and making everything a little bit more clear. So where is the happy synthesis? How can we as team builders move forward and come to this point where we're able to incorporate multiple meta elements and still stay on track and focus? And I would say, hey, really think about your mental capacity of how many elements that you can handle in a game. And not only that, I would say you need to understand priority and pairing. And so I'm going to flesh that out a bit. When we looking at higher point games, and mainly I look at like 500 and over is when you can start doing this. And you're saying like, man, I really like Ghost Rider. Hey, I really like Spiral. I really like Brainiac. I really like Batman or Cop Cars or whatever else. Can I magically put them on a team and make, the cornucopia of ownage? I don't know. How many points do you need to make the cornucopia of ownage using those teams? And I mean, using those figures. And you might find out to make the cornucopia of ownage, you might need 3,000 points. And realistically, you're not going to get 3,000 points. Okay? So you have to come back and say to yourself, well, I'm not getting 3,000 points. Then I need to strip some of this away. And so we can come back and say, all right, what elements pair well together? And this will be the primary focus of our team. Okay, so we can say hypermobility. What does hypermobility pair well with? Hyper aggro. Oh, well, so I have hypermobility and hyper aggro. I pair those together. And I'm like, all right, so I start building what gives me hypermobility. Blah, 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 blah figures. What gives me hyper aggro? Blah, 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 blah figures. All right, great. Now, since I have hypermobility and hyper aggro, what is my weakness? Well, recovery might be my weakness. So I can say I have a sub-theme of healing. Okay? So majority of my points is mobility and aggro, and very little of my points is for, healing. Okay? Another one might be shenanigans. And it pairs well with Power Up X. Okay? So you have shenanigans like Inertia and Leech and Harry Leland. Okay? And that is annoying as all fire. that is really annoying. I mean, you might need a 10 range barrier so you can pull this off, but 10 range figure with barrier. But you combine all those elements, it slows down your opponent's movement so bad. They can't get to you unless they have a spiral, and even then, it's like, ugh. Okay. Then you on the other hand, you're like Power Up X. Build me a Doomsday Weapon Red Skull. Your Infinity Gauntlet. Figures that say like you get plus stats when this happens. Okay? So there you go. You got your Power Up X, you got your Eradicators, your Superboys. You have your mystical characters in which the Ancient One can die and power up, okay? So you have all those things together, and they work with having another element that slows down your opponent's tempo and mobility. Okay? So then you might be saying, like, well, what's my sub-theme? Well, my sub-theme, sort of like I mentioned before, might be barrier. Just in case something goes wrong and my shenanigans are not enough, barrier should buy me an extra turn or take 4 or 5 damage away from me, before, I'm able to, be forced to fight. Okay, so that's a big element of looking at things. is what I'm wanting to do. Do those two main things pair well? Okay, so let me give you an example of something that doesn't pair well. Hypermobility in defense does not pair well at all. Oh, I can go to a whole lot of places, but I'm going to sit right here. That doesn't work. You're going to be like, oh, I'm going to be very, very mobile with my defend chain tank. No, that doesn't work at all. It just doesn't work. Another one that doesn't work really well, in my opinion, and I know this is going to sound bad. Lockdown shenanigans, such as like incapacitate. You can't take an action. You can't do a free action. You can't take a power action. That lockdown shenanigans, in combination with another shenanigan, like like, oh, look, you can't touch me, or oh, look, hey, I get a free token when you do blah blah blah, or I get this, that, and the other. The problem with shenanigans is that shenanigans can work as a general concept, but it cannot be cloned with another shenanigan. Like, eventually you have to kill something. Eventually you have to go out there and maneuver, and and too many shenanigans just shut you down. If you try to do one shenanigan A and shenanigan B, they neutralize each other every time. It just doesn't work. A good example of a shenanigan with another like sub shenanigan is Tester with a lockdown team. Okay? And a lockdown team is like incapacitate and stuff like that. So you have Graviton. So look up Graviton, people. Old school, great figure. You have Graviton, you have Fear Itself Hawkeye, and you have Tester. Okay? And you have enhancement for Tester. Okay? So you have a whole lot of stuff there to power up Tester, to make Tester stand alone. But you also have the shenanigan of, shoot, your team isn't going to be able to move out once you hit midfield. You just lock them down with Graviton and Fear Itself Hawkeye. And trust me, I've played Graviton and Fear Itself Hawkeye together, and it's annoyingly strong. And if you can get multiple Fear Itself Hawkeyes, it's really annoyingly strong. And you just like say, hey, guess what? Incap you. Yeah, you didn't. Oh, you're pushed. Oh, sorry. Take some Hawkeye damage. Yeah. So that's one of the bigger elements. Is those two, groupings work. But the biggest thing is that you're operating in one shenanigan, which is mainly locking them down, and your sub theme is I hit the fire out of you with Tester. So you're able to have some offense going. And you're able to do some other minor things if you have points. But Graviton, Hawkeye, and Tester is just, oh gosh, it's so strong. And just should. I don't even know why I told you all that. You're probably really gonna not like me as a person after hearing that. And then I don't know if it helps that I use Stunning Blow on Graviton. But oh well. So hopefully you can see that, by boiling things down and hitting a sub theme, then we're able to sort of compensate for our general overall weakness. Now, the one thing I don't want you to do, unless it's necessary, due to your own analysis of your venue and your meta, is just to put a figure on because you're paranoid. And say, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and just in case this shows up, I'm going to play this. And trust me, 9 times out of 10, whatever you're afraid of never shows up. Because unless you told everyone on the internet, like I have, what you're going to play, You should never be afraid of X showing up. And if X shows up, you should have a plan to deal with it just from the area of mobility, from the area of positioning, or just how to go kill it. Um, and if that element doesn't show up, well, guess what? You were just prepared. I will say this, and this is one of my major issues as a podcaster, commentator, is that I try not to promote my weaknesses and my biases on you. One of my biggest weaknesses as a player is that I'm paranoid, hyper paranoid. And I've played, and I play against a group of strong players, and I play a very cautious game. And so because of that, I like minimizing my losses. I like knowing that I have rally points, and I know that I have all these different things that can go on. And many times it gives me very decisive wins because I am so cautious. But in my team building, as you can sort of see through some of my examples, it's overly cautious. Too much support. It ruins the team. Too much shenanigans. It ruins the team. Trying to do too many things ruins the team. Trying to have one of every effect ruins the team. So you have to sort of say where your loss is going to be at, and try to minimize that, but at the same time recognize and not be afraid of, this is what my team is weak against. There's no such thing as the absolute unstoppable team, because we still have to roll dice. But there are teams that we can just say, like, hey, I've got to be a little bit more mindful. I got to be on my ball when I play this. I got to be a lot more cautious when I play this. And I can handle X, Y, and Z, but when A, B, and C come into play, I got to play a totally different game. And so it's up to your own mental flexibility to handle that. Okay. With that being said, that's today's show. Big drink of water for me. All right. You might be wondering, like Dark Logos, why didn't you talk about the watch list? The watch list came out. Why don't you talk about the watch list? Talk about the watch list, man. I'm not going to talk about the watch list, mainly because I'm going to be on Dial H for heroclix tomorrow. Booyah! So since I am going to be on Dial H for heroclix, and that's the main topic that we are going to get into, I recommend that you go listen to that. Now, if you listen to this at your venue and there's children around, and or you have kids while you listen to this podcast, I try to make sure that this podcast is G. I have some very vague references to things that most children wouldn't understand. The other podcasts, they have adult content, not in pornographic, but just in language. So if you are concerned about that, you would probably want to listen to the podcast ahead of time before you share it with children. I am not saying their content selection is bad. I actually recommend that if you want a second opinion on meta, I listen to their content. I think it's very strong content in the terms of meta-analysis. But I have to be responsible and say, hey, this show isn't exactly for little ones. Okay. So definitely sort of keep that in mind. So if you want to go and listen to my opinion on that, go check out over there at Dial H for heroclix. I might write up a blog, maybe, probably not, but maybe if I get enough demand. So that's what's going on with that. So I'm going to try to get Hunter and a couple of other guys from Dial H for heroclix on the show. I don't know when, but I'm going to try to get that here when I can. And so that's about it on that front. All right. So if you want to hit me up, you can follow me on Twitter at StartOverPod. It came from outer space, another dimension. High five Cthulhu on its way out. You will hear some of my random twitting musings now and then. But mainly it will allow you to find out when the show is out, because YouTube doesn't like me because I'm not too popular. So I'm always on the bottom of your subscription list. Not only that, you can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com if you wish to opine. Keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome. How things going with you? What do you think about AVX, son? Do you think that this is a money grab hustle? Or do you think it's a legit event? Let me know. Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. I personally think it's a money grab hustle, but that's me. And last but not least, check out the blog, startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. You will hear my comments on previews and other elements of that nature on there, and it allows me to focus on specific things on the show. So if you want to know my opinion of blah, blah, blah just came out, what do you think, Dark Logos? It's going to be on the blog. I'm really not going to try to bring that stuff to the show unless it's really, really like game changing, make your head explode, turn inside out, and then you become a Klingon or something. I don't know. So that's mostly it. So by the time you listen to this, the show for Dial H for heroclix may or may not be up. If you do listen to the show, tell them that I sent you, and give them a high five, follow them on Twitter or whatever else. But mainly let them know that I sent you, because I like sending you all out there to go pester the other heroclix podcasters. But some brief shout outs as soon as I can get back to my Gmail. This is what we call in the industry stalling for time. Try to mask our lack of preparation or unforeseen events with minor banter that seems like it's natural, which really isn't. Give a big shout out again to Gensington Schneiser. I think I got his name correct previously. So big up to you, sir. Big up to Andrew McLaren. Thanks for the emails. Big up to Hunter. Dial H from heroclix. He's always a great guy. JCM Lapel. Always good to hear from you. And last but not least, Mr. Daniel Ray Christopher Cuban Gate, yeah. Or aka Leo _947. All right. That is it. Thank you for listening. And remember, we all have to start over sometime.
I'm into comic books, figures on the wall. She's into looking good, Vicky C's catalog. And she loves my flaws, yeah, she's not ashamed. I'm a Peter Parker, she's my Mary Jane. She's my Mary Jane, she's my Mary Jane. She's my Mary Jane, she's my Mary Jane. She's my Mary Jane, she's my Mary Jane. I'm a Peter Parker, she's my Mary Jane. I'm a big nerd around her, but she's cool around me. Never knew how she found me. Electric, but she grounds me. And she loves my flaws, she accepts them all. When the darkness comes, I will get the call. I will swing down the city.